So hello everybody, welcome back. I hope that this reproduction list or playlist is helpful. You might want to watch it from the beginning because I'm choosing news or information that it is relevant despite the time that you see these videos. So grab your coffee and maybe your notebook because maybe you need to take notes. And if you wanted to share a coffee with me while you're at it, links for that down below. And if you wanted to take a look at any of my books, links for that down below. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And here we go. So we continue with the news about power outages and things that are being done to limit the access to the system for regular people. So the CERN, CERN of Europe will shut down because of the energy crisis. I do not need to tell you that I have mentioned before that there are a lot of machines that can never, ever be without 1 second without electricity, because if that happens, then the machine will stop, and then even for that second, and then that machine is useless, and then they will have to rebuild it. I am assuming that maybe, I'm not an engineer, but I'm assuming that this is going to happen in that place. So that means, a lot of money that will be just thrown down the drain, but okay. Anyway, fashion shows that I have seen now, they are about people walking with IVs and tubes and holding things that are mobile. So fashion is not about you being sick and you walking down the street with something that holds, medicine or serum or something, and then it has to be injected into your arm, and that is normal. You walking down the street with something in your arm is normal, right? I do not know what, I swear to God, sometimes I do not understand people, but okay. Then we are going to move forward to companies that have the power of governments. And yeah, I know it's old news, but this one is kind of shocking. And the reason for that one is that this one, organic citrus company, is now bombarding clouds so that it will stop the rain in that particular region. So now companies can stop the rain in your area if they choose to do it, and nobody seems to want to know about it, or maybe nobody want to do something about it. I mean, what is next? Rich people are going to say, oh yeah, we like to have every single day in my life, in my mansion to be sunny, so let's bombard the clouds here, and I don't care if that makes floods in another place, or maybe it will create droughts in another place. Or how about, I need rain here, so I don't care, how about we bombard the clouds so that it rains here and not in other places, because yeah. How about we play God with the weather, and then, oh yeah, we have done that. But wait, I'm going to talk to you about a topic that it is too, and I don't mean too freaking scary in a next video, for the nobody tells you about this series. Be aware of that one. I will place a title says ignorance is bliss if you don't want to hear about it, because quite frankly, once you know that one, I swear that one will just go. If you are in the US and you are in New York, my God, that one is going to be freaking hard on you. And if you do the research and then you corroborate what I'm saying, and you have any kind of humanity left or whatever in you, Yeah, I think that a revolt, could happen easily. So, if you hear that one, so is bad, but that one is ignorance is bliss, and it will be in another video. Next, Ginevra was presented by Russia with evidence of biolabs from the US in Ukraine and other places. And they have names for US people, politicians, companies, and everything. So basically now they are proving everything that they needed to prove, including genetic viruses and stuff that are targeting minorities from different countries. Okay, so if you are a minority in a country, then you probably want to know about that one. So I don't know what to tell you, but the proof is there. And I do not know how is that one going to turn out about your political view, and it doesn't matter, but the point is that something is up, and there is something that we cannot see. I have told you about it before. We have millions of things that we are not seeing. Therefore, all we can pray or all we can do is ask to be informed and make better decisions for ourselves, and that means a lot of things. And therefore, you want to understand about doing your own research and making informed decisions, not just things that are shown to you by like a trending topic. Now, speaking about trending topics, the LGTB group is in Moore's cartoon now, including there was a kiss in the Buzz Lightyear movie, which made it a trend in terms of saying go walk and then go broke, sort of speak. Because I'm going to be honest here, I'm a teacher, and I'm supposed to be very patient with kids, and I'm not supposed to judge anything. But, and by the way, I try not to judge because it's not my place. But I'm going to tell you something very, very, very sad, and then I'm going to show you why things are happening. Okay, so I don't know if you have seen a lot of videos of TikTok lately. I'm guessing that you have. By the way, I don't have that application. I just have a lot of people that send me information. So here I'm showing you a lemon presser. Okay? It's a lemon presser, right? It's just a tool for pressing lemons. In TikTok, there are kids who are 15, roughly 15 or sometimes 14 or something like that. But they are teens, right? And they don't know how to use a lemon presser. I'm going to say that again. They don't know how to use a lemon presser. So I'm going to say something. There is a strainer here. And there is a hole in here, like a dent. Presser means you are pressing something. And this is how you use it. You take the lemon, you put it here, and then you press it, and then the juice is supposed to get out through the holes from the strainer down there, right? Now you can do these two ways. I mean, a lot of people will press the lemon, up, or some people will put the lemon down. It doesn't matter. But the point is that it's a presser, so you're supposed to put the lemon in here, and you're supposed to press it. Here's how kids use this tool. They put this into the glass, kind of like, you have the glass here, and then you put it right there, like if it was, like if it was a thing. Let me show you this a little bit further here, just so that you can see how kids are using this thing. So they put it in this thing in here. So far so good, right? But instead of putting the lemon in there and pressing it like that, this is also why they have a handle. You're supposed to press through the handle. They are taking the lemon and pouring the juice directly there without pressing it. And they are excited about finding a new tool for doing that. So basically, there is a strainer and then there is a lemon presser. They are not the same. But kids are excited about the fact that the lemon presser can be used as a strainer and you do not need to press the lemon. You can just squeeze it and the juice will drop through the strainer, and then you don't have to worry about the seeds falling into your juice. It's a lemon presser, it's not supposed to be a strainer. And yet, the kids don't understand that one. I mean, seriously, it's a thing. And there are a lot of adults, people who are probably around 45 or 50 or more, who are also now into TikTok, by the way. And they are making fun of all of the teens. Now, that is a form of bullying, I think. You telling the kids that they are stupid and they are idiots. You're not supposed to be saying that. See, if you are over 50 and you look at teens right now and the teens did not make it, that is totally on you. That is not on the teens. That is actually your fault. See, if you are the grandfather or the grandmother of a teen, who should have taught that kid how to cook and how to do stuff related to make an actual living and being a teen and being a healthy kid in terms of having social relationships and a lot of other things. I mean, you have to understand that there is a reason why we always look at the elders for wisdom and for everything else. If everything falls into a society, is the elders' fault. It's not even the adults, because the adults are working. See, the adults are working they're busting their asses off trying to make money. And elders have a lot of time and they should be teaching. And the reason why people retire is precisely because you're supposed to take time to write your memories, to pass down all the information that you learned throughout your life. Because if you're going to die, all of your information and all your history and everything that you have die with you, then what is your legacy? See, and if you're making fun of things, I can tell you right now that your legacy is going to be way beyond, I don't know what to put it, how to call it. But it is bad. And the LGBT things are showing more and more power over the teens, who I just proved to you that are very likely not in their best of senses. I mean, seriously, if you go into a kitchen and you do not know the most basic tools like, knife and cutting and things like that are just universally that's something that you're supposed to know. And universally, you're supposed to, make some sort of living because you are kind of independent. Unless you have a disability, then you should have been able to, understand a little bit about being responsible, being an adult. And yet, you're telling me that the kids who cannot make these decisions right now are able to make decisions about their sex life when they are kids. Not even teens. Kids, as in 4 or 3 or 5. So you're telling me that these kids can have all of that, but they cannot drive, they cannot, they cannot legally do a lot of things, like having their own bank accounts and make their own living, and yet you are telling them that they are allowed to go out and have surgeries and have a lot of things that is just normal. Yeah. And then you're wondering what is going on. So you have Peppa Pig with the LGBT thing. You have several Netflix, cartoons and things like that and series. And now you go into a library and there are books that are targeted for kids who are 3 and 4 that tell them that it is totally normal. These choices about sex. They don't even have a favorite color yet, and you are telling them that they can change their sex if they want to. So I have another question. Then how about if you go into the store and you tell the kids that they're going to be dealing with half of their friends, and I don't mean half because 50% of the people are expected to commit suicide. So how about you tell them that the world that they will be facing have a lot of suicide. Now you need books for that, because I can tell you right now that not everybody will know how to deal with suicide, let alone in friends. Friends who are the same age, 8, 9, 10. So rather than preparing them for having sex, you should be preparing them for those topics. Are there topics, but they are happening. And they are also happening because of the sex energy going all out of control and all over out of whack. Oh, and if you don't believe in, teaching them about sex, which is, your choice again, how about you buy books about managing money for these little kids? I mean, come on. After all, if you're telling them that they can have all the sex that they want, then you should also be telling them that sex is expensive. Because they should be wearing, a lot of condoms, dating, a lot of things, and they are expensive. So someone will have to pay for all that. And what about treatments like hormones or birth control pills or whatever it is? So you are going to need a lot of money. And if you're going to need a lot of money, then you need to tell the kid, okay, you're going to have sex, so you need to have a lot of money in order for you to do that. So I'm going to teach you how to make money. How about that one? Can you find the same amount of books related to that topic, which is way, way, way more important and way more universal? Oh, and by the way, if we were having, those type of books, more than anything else, then the suicide rate will probably not be that high, because people will not feel so desperate. And also, people will be, focusing on growing themselves and things like that, which will make them more stable, which will make them better, and all kinds of things. So, how about you know, if you are good with drawing and good and things like that, maybe you should be making a lot of books that are aimed for kids, that are, to teach them about money and finances and things that are actually important. But then again, who is making those choices? And the important part is why. And the worst part is, do you know about all of these topics? How is your kid right now being exposed to all of them? Because if you are a parent and you want to, try to promote tolerance and things like that, maybe you should try to focus on making the kid independent and teaching them about money and things like that. So, like I said, very important to understand what you're doing. Now, next one. In terms of poisoning things, we have sodium fluoride, which is an insecticide, or it used to be an insecticide. It was labeled as an insecticide, as in poison. So it's not okay to use it in certain things because it is an insecticide. And yet, why is it in water and it is in toothpaste, and why is it that all of this is happening? So I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story, as in, what is going on behind the sodium fluoride thing. So, several years ago, believe it or not, several years ago, the meat industry had issues because there were not a lot of people that will have access to ice and a lot of things that were supposed to be important in terms of transportation for the food and things like that. And so the meat was being rotten. So basically, you take, meat from California towards New York. Of course, when it gets to New York, it's going to be rotten. And so this was becoming an issue because obviously, nobody wants to eat rotten meat. And so they started putting a lot of chemicals that were really bad for your health. Think in terms of, let's say that you can put pure petroleum on top of the meat so that it's black and the petroleum will not let the oxygen go through, so the meat will not go bad because it is filled with petroleum and things like that. And so there was an issue because people were buying the meat with all of these chemicals and all of these bad things. They used to put nitrogen, and I think there was so many other stuff. I think that there was even I think about putting nitroglycerin or something like that. It was really bad. And so here is what happened. Scientists knew that this was bad for your health. Doctors knew that this was bad for your health. But, legally, you can know something, but proving it is another story. See, if you wanted to take the meat industry, to a lawsuit because you are selling meat that is covered with petroleum or whatever it is that they put in that thing, and you're killing people, you have to prove that you're killing people. So there was a scientist. He asked for volunteers for dying, and there was a group that was created for I think it was 20 men or something like that, and it was called the Poison Squad. These men knew that they were going to die, and here is how they were going to do it. They were going to eat all of the things that the people were eating, and they were going to go through a study, and they all had to be completely healthy, by the way. They could not have, heart diseases or anything. Because if you had anything and you eat something and then you die, the lawyer from the other side can say, okay, but he had heart issues. So if he has heart issues, of course he's going to have a heart attack, so no. So these men had to be completely healthy, okay? And they were willing to take all of this food that was poisoned so that the doctor was able to prove that this food was actually poison, and that therefore the Poison Squad name. And they were able to prove that you're not supposed to eat, the chemicals that they were adding to the meat, and they were not supposed to be doing that. And then, this was... And, sorry, I got interrupted. So anyway, the point about this whole thing from these, studies was that the scientists were able to prove in court that these things were killing people. Now, of course, the industry already knew, but like I said, it's one thing you knowing about it and then another thing proving it. So, of course, the industry just claimed that they didn't know, and that somebody should have warned them, and it was not their fault because they cannot afford scientists all over the place, so this was the government's fault. And then the FDA was, they had more money, or I think it was created, or they got a lot of money into the thing, or whatever it was. But the point is that regulations started to happen. So there are studies that prove that sodium fluoride is an insecticide. And yet the FDA is not declaring them to be poison for food. Why? Well, because like I said, there is one thing you knowing about it and another one proving it. So all of the papers that prove that the chemicals that people are, eating are poison, they are not being tested properly through the FDA. Or the papers that prove that these things are poison are not being, they are being buried inside the regulations. So, point being, the thing about the Poison Squad that, was so important is now not even in effect. And all of the efforts that they went through are now worth nothing, because the principle is lost, and the FDA is no longer doing its job because of this. And I don't know what to tell you about that, but you can do the research and you can find a lot of data and a lot of things, and it's just the data is being ignored. Now, of course, when the Poison Squad was there, there was a lot of, press all over the place. There was a lot of people that were sort of like, "Are you crazy? Why are you healthy? Healthy men. Why do you want to die?" and things like that. But the principle was quite important, because you cannot give people the stuff that will kill them just because you do not know or you cannot prove it. And this is going to play a role into the lawyers. Like I said, lawyers are going to have a field day in all of these things. All of them. Because this includes medicines, and this also includes health products like shampoo, deodorants and stuff. So if you do not want to eat insecticide in your toothpaste, then use the natural alternative, which is coconut oil, baking soda, and I have mentioned all of the things that you can use in the toothpaste or cleaning your tooth. I have a video about that in the channel if you wanted to take a look at that. So anyway, so you need to educate people, and in order for you to educate people, sometimes people will go to the extreme, even sacrificing their lives. So may God, help and support the soul of these poor men. I swear they deserve like altars all over the place, because if you are a guy who happens to be extremely healthy and everything, and you're willing to die so that nobody else dies, that if there is a definition for hero, that will be it. So they should be even mentioned everywhere, but you don't see their story being published anywhere. So anyway, so speaking of education, then you have workshop for kids, as in how to be a travesti and how to do drag queen shows. By the way, they are all in schools all over the US and all over even Latin countries and Europe. So I'm going to ask again, do you know where your kids are? And do you know what your kids are doing? And do you know who your kids are being dealing with? Yeah, right. So next one, China. Now, this one is kind of old because it is, it has been very between news, but several months ago, there was a Pentagon, how do you call it? Pentagon security expert. He proved that China is creating digital twins with DNA from US citizens, and China is also having all kinds of information from companies from the US, because you see, if you have a company in the US, but this company has ties with China, the China law says that whatever information your company has, it goes directly towards the Chinese government. So let me explain this one. Let's say that I create an app and I am in the US, but for some reason, I use anything related to a Chinese thing. So a Chinese supplier or a Chinese cell phone company or whatever it is. So by Chinese law, even if you have your company based overseas, if you are tied with China, then China has a right to have all the information from that company into the government. So that one is a very tricky thing. And again, this is going to play a huge role into lawyers suing the hell out of a lot of things. And so now they also have a lot of, like I said, DNA testing for, DNA testing and DNA data from minorities. And they don't know what they're doing with those digital twins. So I have a question. What about if you are in the US and then you get a clone, but this clone is in China and they can do whatever they want because they are you? That is going to be, like I said, a field day for lawyers. My God, this is going to be huge in terms of how you're going to play this with lawyers. My God, lawyers, oh my God, if they do not find themselves busy, I swear I do not know what you're doing. If you're a lawyer and you do not know about doing a little bit, just do tiny research and you will have a ton of jobs, a ton of work for the rest of your entire life. Anyway, so the TikTok app is being sued because a lot of teens are dying due to this app. And these times, lawyers can prove it. The reason being the following. Number one, Because the TikTok videos that you see on your feed will depend upon your age, which means that they are being selective. But not only that, but they also depend upon your country. So let me explain this. If you're using TikTok and you're in China, all your feed, and you are a guy, meaning you are a male, as in you have a penis, and you're 15, most of the videos that you are going to see in your feed are about guys who are doing wrestling, guys who are doing gym, guys who are doing military service, guys who are doing scientific lab, guys who are doing, police and things like that. If you are in China. But if you are in the US and you are the same guy with a penis, you will be, and 15, you will be seeing most of your feed about drag queens, about, fashion, about porn, about, videos that are related to doing stupid things. I forgot the name of that program, in which there was a guy who was always doing pranks and things like that, in which he was trying to hurt himself and things like that. That is what you're going to be seeing if you are in the US. So that means that the app is being completely biased toward, if you are in China, you are going to be a strong man, and we are not going to allow you to see anything else. We are not going to allow you to consider that anything else other than you being a wrestler, a police, a military, or a science lab or something like that, that is normal. Everything else is not normal. But if you are in the US, this is a normal. You are a clown, you are a travesta, you are a, you're a drag queen, you are into fashion, and you are never going to be into exercises. Never. So this is being proven in the TikTok thing, and it's they also have a proof about how much money people, they are being studied into the brain and how addictive this thing is, and how this is going to kill a lot of things. So the first ones who have already, been casualties of this thing are suing. If they don't step up, meaning they don't win or they don't do something big, the trend will become even bigger. So if you're thinking right now that whatever the media is telling you is just normal, then maybe you need to take a trip to other countries and realize that what you are being told is normal is actually not normal. Because the sense of normal, or the concept of normal, is being determined by the apps like TikTok and others, which is very bad. Now, like I said, lawyers field day. So we have a founder for democracy, political guy in Holland. His name is Thierry Baudet, and he speaks about Marxism and a lot of policies that are being weird, that are being taught in universities like Oxford, and they are also uncovering new things about the New World Order, and in universities that are teaching ideologies in the universities right now. And so this is a problem in terms of politics, because if you're going to be teaching, kids and everybody else that certain trends are considered normal, and there is no room for debates, and there is no room for anything else, then this is an issue, because you're going to have a lot of people prosecuting other people because of the differences. It doesn't matter, how you look at it. If you are teaching people that my opinion is right and yours is wrong, and therefore you are less than me, you are going to have a lot of issues. So this guy, Thierry Baudet, started, he was in a meeting with a lot of other countries and a lot of other politicians and leaders. And when he started talking about this fact, the fact that if you consider yourself better than everybody else, then you have a problem. Yeah, everybody left the room and left the guy alone. So, you're telling me that you want to teach tolerance and you want to teach a lot of things through the LGBT thing, but you cannot do it through a normal conversation in a table with other people and things like that. And yet, and the leaders are supposed to respect, other people's point of view, even if they're wrong or whatever. But now you are seriously saying that everybody just wants to leave the room? Yeah, right. So now what? Well, we will have a political circus very soon. Now, we are going to talk about tires, and the reason for that is because I have been seeing a lot of teens, and I do mean teens, that are traveling throughout the UK, and a lot of teens that are traveling through the US, and they are with drills, the ones that make holes into the walls that you are supposed to take. They are taking drills to make holes into the tires of the transportation people, especially farmers. Meaning, if you were going to transport food and you were going to go to the farmers, because they do not want to support the farmers, and this is also in Canada, by the way, but the Canadians are a little bit different. They don't have they don't have this problem that much, but in the United States it's becoming an issue. And in the UK, oh my God, it's going to become even bigger. That's why they have people marching all over London sometimes. But anyway, they are destroying all of the tires for the trucks. So with one drill, they can take down, 8 tires in less than a minute. One tire, let's say that each tire is $200. So right there, you have $1,600. So the problem is not just the money. The problem is that if you do this with 10,000 trucks, you will need, 80,000 tires. And tires take time to be produced. It's not like you can say, okay, I'm done. I did it in 1 hour. It's not like that. Tires, you need to produce them. You need to resend them to all the stores. You need to have the proper tire for everybody else, not just you, and things like that. So, also, the tires are made with prime material, and nobody is sending prime materials to the tire factory. So it's sort of like, what? Wait, what? I want to produce the tire, but I have no suppliers for materials, so my factory is shutting down. So they are shutting down the tires for the factories for tires, and they are doing that in Latin countries. They are also doing that in the US, and they are also doing that in the UK. And of course, the people do not know about it because, maybe even your teen is participating into these situations in which a lot of teens are angry, they are pissed, they get with the wrong crowd, and with a freaking thing, they just go and say, okay, I'm against the government, I'm against these people, so I'm just going to make holes into everybody's tires, and nobody will be able to do anything because without tires, you have nothing. So, options. Several things that you're supposed to know about tires, by the way. One of them is that if you keep your tires with the right pressure, you will be able to save fuel. If you're consuming too much fuel, you might need to check the tires, because sometimes if the tire is with the improper pressure, you might be spending more fuel. Up to, I think it's between 1 to 3%. But still, 1 to 3%, if you use your car a lot, then that's a lot of money. Let's say that you put $200 of fuel, that is $3 per month or $6 per month, sometimes more. And if you add that, to years, because you are going to be using a car forever, so every year you're spending, $60 to $80, $60 to $80, $60 to $80, and sometimes more, over time, that is a lot of money. So, the small leaks that we have because of money. And also, you might have more accidents because of tires. So the option might be doing research with I think the brand is Michelin. I do not know. I think it is Michelin. But there are tires that do not require air. And these tires are being revolutionized. So maybe you can find out if these tires will work for your truck or for your car. And if they do, I suggest you change your tires towards that. And then I suggest you really secure those tires to your car, because your car tires are going to be stolen. So now you need to park the car in a proper garage, and you need to take care of the tires, because tires, yeah, like I said, in my country, tires, it's a huge topic. So beware of what is going on with the tires, because tires means no transportation. So JP Morgan right now, JP Morgan Chase is looking to eliminate the $5,000 million businesses that they have with credit card services, and they are going to take down that services. Meaning, you go into the bank and you want to renew your credit card. I'm sorry, your credit card is no longer going to be renewed. You still have the debt, pay it, and we are not going to renew the credit card. So they are looking at destroying the credit card system for that bank. So I have a question. Where are you going to get all the money if you're a bank and you're supposed to, have income due to interest and due to loans and due to other things? So, and I have another question. If this is going to be one bank, are the older banks also going to take down all the credit card services? If you are into this card, this bank, you should know in advance, because maybe, just maybe, you live paycheck to paycheck, and you have a life because you are, able to use credit cards. But this is going to be big. If they start doing this, your country will become Venezuela. And when that happens, you will also shut down insurance companies, and other companies are going to follow. And you do not want to know what happens when you have absolutely no one that will have your back in case of emergencies. And at this point, GoFundMe might be your only choice if you have emergencies. So, next one. Like I said, do your own research, as always. France is going to restrict the access to charging your car due to the crisis of the energy sector. So you are not allowed to have a gasoline car or a petroleum car or whatever it is. So you need the electrical car, because that one is the one that is going to save the environment. But since it is electricity, and that one is also an issue, because we cannot have electricity for everybody, especially during winter times. So here is what's going to happen. You are allowed to charge your car between 8 to 13 hours, meaning between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. If you charge your car between, in other hours that are not into that particular schedule, then you are going to have huge fines, and they are even thinking about jail. Well, the thing is that, they're going to do it kind of like Switzerland. But the thing has more than 100 pages, and they are thinking about, like I said, putting people into jail if they don't comply with helping other people, because it is your fault that we have an energy crisis. And then the second schedule will be from 18 hours to the 20 hours. And if you do not charge your car for whatever reason on those hours, that means that you have to be home, or you have to be at a particular gas station or whatever at that time. And if you don't, because you're late or because there was a whatever, they might even shut down the gas stations in certain hours so that you are stranded. And if you are stranded, you will have to pay a lot of towing companies and things like that, which will cost you a lot of money. And the thing about, like I told you, the difference between Latin countries, generally speaking, and Europe or other countries is that Latin countries, we never ever trusted the government or whatever. So we always have bribing, and we always have black markets, and we always have choices. But I don't think you will have a lot of choices if you are into a situation like this. Because how exactly are you going to carry, electricity in a bucket or in a container or something like that? Maybe you can have batteries, but those batteries, I am assuming that they will be so expensive, and even then you might not be able to use them. So this is going to be huge. And I am assuming that they are also going to control how many extra batteries you can carry for emergencies and things like that. And this is not going to be pretty. This one, you will need to adapt easier. Oh, and by the way, once you adapt, you will think that this is normal, which means that you are never going back to being 24-hour free to charge your car. Never. Once you give up this one, the same thing happened in my country, and I'm telling you, you are never going back. Never. Because your new sense of normal will be, we are restricted. And it's going to be a mental prison. Now the thing is that getting out of a mental prison is way easier said than done. And that is if it is possible, if you have the free will, as in the discipline, and if you have the knowledge, and if you have the proper education, and also if you actually believe it is possible, which your environment is going to probably tell you that is not.